This week, for those of you who are tuning into the live show or catching the podcast, I wanted to call your attention to something that I had the pleasure of doing for Intuit. It's a program called Get Into It. This is why we've been dropping that. And I got to talk with Jill Schlesinger, who's a business analyst, podcast host, and editor. You've seen her on CBS. And we talked about the Great Resignation. And one of the things that we can do sometimes in business is experience a moment in time or experience a tragedy and just try to move on from it and try to move away from it. But the reality is we are still in the midst of the Great Resignation. We're still in the midst of people changing jobs, saying no to their employers. We're still in the midst of some trends that we've experienced. And I just wanted to just for a second point people to that episode, or it's actually going to be on Thursday. So we'll drop a link in the show notes so you can register. But I just wanted to chat with Sommer about that experience and some of the themes that we'll unpack on the show. So first thing I'll ask you is what Jill asked me, is it the Great Resignation? Is it the big quit? Is the big reconsideration? What are your thoughts, Sommer? What should we call this time that we're in?
Oh gosh, I think it's really hard to put a label on it, but there's definitely some underlying themes here. It's like a giant shakeup of anything and everything that we knew before in regards to, workforce retention and longevity. There's historically been, kind of this expectation, and I know it's evolved over the years, say, since perhaps our parents, Joey, were in the workforce, and there was the expectation that you found the right employer and you stayed with them for as long as possible, and for many that meant for their life. But gone are those days, and especially with what we've seen over the last 2 years. I don't know what you want to call it, but I can definitely say that the Great Resignation, the Great Reshuffle, I think the big quit, they all describe it quite well.
Yeah. And it's a particular challenge to small and medium-sized businesses, folks that listen to our show and that we serve as customers, because sometimes we may feel like we're at a disadvantage or we have to be reactionary to the big firms or the big powers that be that might drive economic factors. But what I hope to share in the episode is that it's a great time to be a small to medium-sized business owner or be in management if you have the right perspective of what this opportunity means. And so I don't want to give it all away. I really want to just build the excitement around what this episode could mean for your business. Because if you're tuning in to our show week in and week out, there's some great synergies with what I was able to talk about with Jill on the program. So make sure you click the link in the show notes. Let's get into it and, help your business, breathe some life into your business, where this may have been a challenge, but really I want to paint this as an opportunity. We talk about a few things. We talk about the intergenerational workforce. We talk about remote workers. We talk about the 80% of employees who are deskless, which means they have to show up to work. So you can't offer flex, hybrid, or remote. But there's a whole host of things that we talk about, and you really, really don't want to miss the show. Have I promoted it enough? Sommer, are you excited? Are you going to tune in?
Absolutely. And I'm super excited for our listeners to hop on over and catch you on that, because I do think that it talks about very similar themes, but in kind of a different format, different energy, and different details. So I think it's definitely worth their time, and look forward to hopefully seeing you on other episodes with the guests in the future.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll invite me back.